Alright, I know I'm late to the party, but we still need to talk about the brand new 5 stars that are going to be coming out in 1.4 and something about them that I really want to make note of, and also another thing in regards to how they're going to impact the meta, how they're going to change up teams, how they're going to replace certain characters in other teams. There's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about in this video. So of course we are talking about our brand new 5-star units, which are going to be coming out 1.4. So yes, we are going to have to wait a while because yes, we're still in 1.2 with Kafka, and 1.3 is going to end up with Donhung and Fu Xuan. So we need to get all of those banners out of the way, and then we'll finally hit Jingliu and Topaz and Numby. So these characters are really nice to see. Both of them look absolutely amazing. It is going to take a minute for both of them to come, but there are some things that we need to talk about in regards to teams, in regards to how they're going to impact other characters, and especially right now I want to go ahead and start talking about Topaz and Numby because there's something that strikes me already different from her and every other character in the game right now, and let me see if you understand what it is in maybe like 2 seconds. All right, now the thing I'm going to be pointing out is the name. The name is not just Topaz, it's actually Topaz and Numby, and this seems like this is going to be the official name for the character when they release, just because not only is it in the graphic, of course, all big Topaz and Numby, but at the bottom left it actually says Topaz and Numby 5-star. So this is something that I think is going to be an official name for the character. Now that strikes me as a big difference. You know why? Because Clara is another character that has, I guess you could say, another character with them. So it not being Clara and Savarog and it just being Clara, while Topaz is Topaz and Numby, that's a little bit of a striking difference. I know in a lot of different gacha games, especially the ones I've played in the past, the naming of characters is actually very important, because not only does that include not only does it include you being able to use another character within that character, but it's gonna maybe have a switch mechanic or a stance mechanic or some type of mechanic where you switch between the two as the same character. So I know I might be going super tinfoil hat theory with this, because yes, it might just be a name for the graphic. Yes, it might just be, how they're just advertising it like this, and it could honestly just be Topaz when she releases. But honestly, right now with how it looks, with it just saying Topaz and Numby and not just Topaz, I don't know why they would have to put the Numby in there if he's not going to be, I guess you could say, impacting the gameplay in any way, shape, or form. We'll have to see, we'll have to wait. That's just something that caught my eye super quick, just because, as I said, other gacha games really, I guess you could say, are specific with naming for characters, and this automatically struck my eye with. But going ahead and talking about Jingliu now. Now Jingliu, we got to try her a bit with the character demo in the Yanqing companion quest. So rip my boy Yanqing, he got power creeped in his own quest, and not only that, we already see another character coming out in almost his exact role. But there are a couple of things we're not going to talk about. Now having Jingliu coming out with Topaz as well is going to allow us to try out other teams and also see what other characters are going to be impacted by this. Now looking at Ice already, this is something I want to go ahead and look at really quickly, because not only are we going to see Jingliu, who of course we see as a main DPS to sub DPS type character, we don't know for sure what we're going to be looking at when it comes to these characters. Of course we are going to get the full kit from them and know what they do in the live stream on Friday. How did I already forget that the live stream is supposed to be for Donhung and Fu Xuan? I swear I'm stupid. So make sure to come out and make sure to watch it with us on YouTube, because we will be watching it when they actually start streaming it. But for right now, the Ice element comprises of Yanqing, Japard, Pella, Herda, and March 7. Now the main reason I want to talk about the Ice team for sure is because not a lot of people have been running mono Ice, just because getting Yanqing is kind of the only main DPS option we have for this team. Now for Jingliu, it's going to be a little bit easier to get Jingliu than it is Yanqing, just because Yanqing, the only way you can really, I guess you could say, specifically go for him is if you choose him out of your 300 pulls, or you just get lucky during your standard banner pulls, or you lose 50-50 and get lucky with him as well. So he's kind of one of the harder 5 stars, of course, as every other standard banner character to be able to pull and use them on the team. Jingliu is going to be our first access and our first pathway to get to it. Now, as far as I know, as far as I remember, I'm not 100% sure. Someone in the comments can, I guess you say, someone in the comments can tell me if I'm wrong or not. But as far as I know, I think Jingliu doesn't have any freeze in her kit. Of course, when you break shield, all Ice characters can freeze. But I'm talking about innate freeze, like where it has effect hit rate, you have a chance to freeze when you hit them with your skill or your ultimate. That's the type of freeze I'm talking about. Now, I don't know if for sure that's in her kit, but mono Ice, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a super crazy meta team, and there's a reason for it, because almost all these characters have some chance of freeze. And with that being said, holy crap, is that going to be very, very strong for Jingliu and also mono Ice as a whole. So that's really good already, with Jingliu being able to come out, helping you try out mono Ice, because we have characters like Yanqing that can freeze, we have characters like Japar that can freeze, we We have characters like March 7th that can freeze. There's just a lot of really cool compositions that we can run, and also having that defensive capability of making them skip their turn. There's just really good things that we're going to try out with mono ice. Now again, we don't know exactly what Jingliu does. We don't know if we're going to be running her on mono ice or running her with other characters that are already out, so it's really nice to see what she's going to be doing. But mono ice already as a possibility is going to be a very strong option and pushing that team up for sure, above a tier or two when it comes to ranking the mono ice or mono element teams together. Now talking about another, I guess you could say, element, which is going to be fire. Fire of course needs a lot of help. There's not a lot of characters in the fire element for sure, because all we have right now is Asta, Hook, Trailblazer, and Himiko. Now for 1000% sure, Himiko is actually going to get a really nice buff from this, and there's a reason why. With Topaz and Numby being a hunt character, as we may know, all the hunt characters for sure are just main DPSs, and that's basically all they're there for. They specialize in doing a bunch of damage in a really, I guess you say, fast manner. So this is something that's really good for us to have in the fire element, because we don't really have that. We kind of have all like sub DPS and support style roles, and then we do have our one tank, which is Trailblazer. So Himiko for sure, since she is erudition, she's going to specialize in making sure that you break shields, hoping you whittle down enemies that are in an AoE fashion, because not only is her skill AoE, her ult AoE is going to be all really good things. Having Numby and Topaz is going to be really good, just because the hunt characters usually are single target damage, really good single target damage, and having Himiko there to be able to break shield, to do damage AoE wise, she's going to end up getting more play in all honesty once Topaz comes out. So I'm very happy to see that fire is getting some love, and we're also getting a hunt version of a fire character so that we can help out the other characters that are in fire. Of course, we do have light cones that are going to help with element support. So the planetary rendezvous, if I'm not wrong, does that for you, and whew, having that on Asta is going to be absolutely amazing, and helping Topaz do a bunch of damage, having Himiko do a bunch of damage is going to be some really good stuff. And Trailblazer as a whole, I don't know how many people haven't tried to actually build their tank Trailblazer. Such a great character, but there's just a lot of things happening for sure with Topaz and Numby having weird naming, them being fire hunt, which is really good for the fire element, and then Jingliu of course boosting up mono ice, having a potential really crazy team with being able to use mono ice, have a bunch of freeze on it with all the characters that can freeze, and then you have other characters that can fit the sub DPS type of playstyle with Jingliu, which is going to be characters like Herda and possibly Yanqing, depending if you have a bunch of skill point positive characters like Ting Yun and also Luocha. So there's a bunch of stuff. I'm very excited for Jingliu. I'm very excited for Topaz. They both look absolutely amazing for sure. I cannot wait to see their kits later on in the future. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. See you on the next one, and peace.